We dealt with something called supportive living programs, and Charles can probably confirm this. These are programs that are set up that are publicly funded but privately run. There was a program called the Heron House down in the Florida Keys where they were able to take people in who had mental illness but needed to be medicated, needed to have structure, and they would put them in community situations so that they could still live a decent life. But why that program works is because there's structure, there's continuity. So it was more than just going into a clinic, getting some meds, over-medicating them, and then coming back as an outpatient a month later with no follow-up.
You know, probably like many people, I also have personal experience with this, and I think we're missing a key ingredient here. It's not these other issues aren't problems, it's this. The mental health system underwent a transformation about 50 years ago, and what it did is it made it harder for someone to be committed. The problem with mental illness largely is that someone who's mentally ill doesn't know or doesn't want to admit they're mentally ill. So you have a freedom versus health issue go head-to-head. Doctor, I'm sure you've had experience with this, but it's very difficult to commit someone. It's very difficult to get someone help that doesn't want help. And you know what? That's okay, because we want to protect freedom as well. But this is the inherent tension.
Right. I mean, I think that the point that you raised there that's important is this whole conversation about civil commitment. And that's a slippery slope, and every state deals with it differently. But what you have to understand is that there are people who are trained to make that decision. The problem is we don't always have them available or on scene to make that determination that this person needs to be involuntarily committed, to at a minimum do an assessment and evaluation to see if they're a danger to themselves or to others. That's part of the problem. The second thing is, I think that you talk about the stigma of mental health. That's huge. So is it the case that in this situation in Virginia, that they knew that there were some challenges facing this young man, but they didn't want to sort of admit to themselves? As I said, I did school-based behavioral health. I worked with children. And I can tell you one of the major challenges that I faced as a clinician was getting moms usually, because a lot of times fathers weren't involved, especially during the day, to understand that, yeah, you love your kid, you love your daughter, you love your son, and maybe I do too, but they have some serious issues. Getting beyond that denial, that is a hard-fought and hard-won battle.